Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to the Partner Study Center. Today we are going to see the chapter of geography and what is our topic today? Biomes is important, but first point is also important here. Meaning of biome, there is a most important meaning of biomes. The word biomes is a short form of biologically home. The biomes is mean here a biological home. There is short form. There is a noise and immunities among their scientists as far as their definition as well as the classification of the biomes is a consider. Biomes may be defined as a large natural ecosystem wherein we study their total assemblage of the plant and animal communities. And here all the biota have their minimum common characteristics and all the area of biomes are characterized by the more or less informal environment condition. There is important here less and more informal environment condition. Though the biomes include both plant and animal communities, but a biomes is usually identified and named on the basis of the dominant vegetation. There is important dominant vegetation, which normally is a constitute there is a block of the biomes, and this vegetation are the most waves and there is a compass is a visible component of the landscape. By the biomes, we mean total weight of all living organism, a plant, animal found in the biomes. The important here, and the next topic is a factor affecting to the biome. See there a factor of affecting the biomes here. The factor affecting the biomes here, there are various factors which affect the size, location and character of a biomes. Important factor are flow. There is important here, and the first point also important, length of day and the night, light and darkness. The length of the day, light and the darkness is mainly are responsible for the duration of photosynthesis. There is important here, length of day and light and darkness. This is mainly responsible for the duration of photosynthesis. And mean temperature as well as the difference in a temperature difference both diurnal and annual. To find out extremely their condition are important here. And third point here, length of growing season. The important length of growing season. And next here, precipitation, which include a total amount variation over time and the intensity. And fifth here, winds of flow that is include speed, direction, duration and frequency. The important here. And the next point is soil types, and next here slope, and next here drainage and other plant and animal species. There is a most important point here. The next topic is the most important here, classification of the biome. There is important here, classification of biome. There are two major bases of the classify the biomes here. Two majors classifies the base. In this section, we will be discuss two classification will be simple and widely used. The base of the two classification and the various type and listen below. The first here factor here. The one of there is the basis of the climate with a special emphasis and the ability of the moisture. The first here important classification here on the basis of the climate with the special emphasis and ability of the moisture. According to this basis, biomes are determined by the degree to which is the moisture is available to plants in a scale hanging from the abundant forest biome. Abundant here mean to the forest biomes to be almost as scarce a desert biome. The desert biomes is important here, but within each of biomes is a condition of the temperature are the vastly different from a low to high altitude and the low to the high latitudes. Consequently, there is a need to be subdivides each biomes in the further subtypes. However, condition to this classification, and there are four major types of biomes here. The four major types biomes is important here. The first here forest biome, second here savanna biomes, and the next here grassland biomes and desert biome. There is the most important biomes here. The next factor here. The next is on the basis of the climate and vegetation. There is the most important on the basis of climate and vegetation. This classification argues that there is the close relationship between the world distributional pattern of the plant, animal species and the climatic types of the world. Thus, the base on this relationship to the world has been divided into different biomes types. The vegetation is the most is dominant is the component of the biomes as the vegetation and climate have a intimate is a relationship. There is a world is divided into the various types on the basis of climate. Further, these climate based biomes are divided into the various subtypes on the basis of vegetation. Look at the table number 15.1 given below. There is a most important table here. In this table, there is the most important here show biomes of the first order based on the climatical zone, and second biomes are second order based on the vegetation zone, and biomes of third order combination of climate and vegetation. The first here tropical biomes. Tropical biome is the three types here. Tropical forest biomes. Here a combination of the climate vegetation here green rainforest biomes, semi evergreen forest biomes and discusses forest biomes and semi-discussive forest biome, venomous forest biome and savan forest biome. There is important here. And the next here, savan biome. Savanna biome is the most important here. Savanna biomes forest is the most important first, and savanna is a grassland biome the second. The next here, desert biomes. Desert biomes here dry and arid to the desert biomes and semi-arid biomes is important here. The second here, temperate biome. Temperate biomes is the here arboreal forest biome and taiga forest biome. There is a Northern American biome and a styx biomes, mountain forest biome. And second temperature discussion forest biomes. There are two types here, North American biomes and European biome. And the next third here, temperate grassland biomes. There is a Sobe steppes biomes and Northern America, Parises biomes and Pampa biomes. The next here, the Mediterranean biomes. There are Australian grassland biomes and warm temperate here. There is important on the southern hemisphere biomes is a part of the Mediterranean biomes. The next here, Tundra biome. Tundra biomes here is the most important. Erica Tundra biomes and alpine Tundra biomes is the important here. From the table 15.1, it is a quite clear that is a number of biomes are found in the different part of the globe. For a detail is a study, three biomes, one from the each is a climatical zones has been to selected, and those three biomes are here. The evergreen rainforest biomes, and second here the temperate grassland biomes, and third is there the Arctic tundra biomes. The three types are the most important biomes here, and discussion to one by one. But first of all, the evergreen rainforest biomes. There is the most important here. The evergreen rainforest biomes. That is important. The first point here, according to the evergreen rainforest biomes, the geographically background. The geographically is background is the most important point here. This biome extend up to the 10 degrees is altitude on the both side of the equator. The cover their area of the Amazon lowland of South America is a kangaroo is a basin of the equilaterals Africa and Southeastern Asia islands. Extending from the Sumatra and the New is a Junius, there is the area is shown in the figure. There is important here. This area experience a high temperature through their area with a range as the little as a 2 Celsius here. However, their daily range of temperature is a much higher than to the annual range of temperature here. This areas get a heavy rainfall running between to the 150 centimeter to 250 is a centimeter. It is a distribute through the year. The important here point, there the area get a heavier rainfall ranging between 150 centimeter to 250 centimeter here. The rainfall is occurred in the afternoon almost on the daily basis, and this also is happens because of the huge amount of the water vapor is reaching in their atmosphere due to high temperature. Hence, this area is considered to be on equable climate as a both temperature and rainfall are high for the whole of the year. There is an important point here, and the next year show the figure on this area. Here show the map on the most important here, Kagero, Sahara, Thar, Arabians, Kaharis and the Atama. There is the most important show in this diagram and there is a map is important area here. The second here, natural vegetation and animal life. There is important here, natural vegetation and animal life here. The combination of the heat and the moisture make these biomes as a perfect environment for a great variety of plants and animal species. You know that there is important, the combination of heat and the moisture make this biome as a perfect environment for a great variety of the plant and animal species. The variety of plant species can be understood from the fact that 1 square kilometer many contain as many as about thousand of different types of plant species. Most of the trees have a butter stress as trunks and shallows is the root and the large dark evergreens leaves. The evergreen is a rainforest is arranged in their three leaves. The canopies are upper levels. There is a trees lies between about 20 meter to 50 meters. Most of them are the hard wooden trees like ebonies, mahagonis, rosewood, and sandalwoods and cherry, etc. That is important here. And the next here, the second leaves of the intermediate leaves, there are tree lies between about 10 meters to be 20 meters. The most important plant of this group is a plum trees. You know that there is important here. The most important plant of this group is a plum trees. Apart from the plum trees, is epiphytic and parasitic plants are also found in this layer. The third are lower level lies from a surface leap to about a 10 meter of heights. Under this category, a variety of plants are found, namely the orchids, ferns, mosses and herbs and bananas and pineapple, etc. Because of the tall and broad leaved and the dense plant, sunlight could not be reached at the lowest leaf surface. Because of poor photosynthesis process at this level, number of plant species are very low. Like a vegetation, evergreen rainforest is inhabited by the numerous birds, mammals, insects, etc. There is important here. Is a like a vegetation, evergreen rainforest is inhabited by the numerous birds, mammals, insects, etc. And some important animal of these biomes are jaguar and lemur and the earthworm and elephant, etc. Macaw, parrots, sloth, and the ducks are some of the important birds of this area. The most of birds are colorful. The water bodies of the equatorial area are also rich in the animal life with alligators, turtles, and fishes and frog, hippopotamus, etc. And because of there is the impermeability and the high vegetation growth in the lower part, the most of the insect, birds, and animal resides on the branches of the tree. The water bodies of equatorial area are also rich in animal life with alligator, turtles, fishes, frog, and hippopotamus, etc. Because of the impermeability and the high vegetation growth in the lower part, most of the insect, birds, and animals resides on the branches of the tree. Generally, they do not come down to the ground. The productivity of the tropical rainforest biomes is the highest of all the biomes types of the world. It may be pointed out that the rainforest biome represents only 30% of the total geographical area of the world. But this biome accounts for the 40% of the total is the productivity of the world. The next point here, human response. The human response here is important here. Human beings has also started to be damage this biologically rich ecosystem through the various developmental activity, and these activities are construction of the large dam and reservoirs and the roads and the highways, extraction of the timbers, cleanliness for a posture of crops, encouragement and the cleanliness by the landless peasant, etc. There is an important here human response is a response. Ecologists are used that if the clearness of continue at the recent rates, all of the world as a undistributed rainforest is likely to have a disappeared or to be damaged by the 200 2020, and this would be lead to be a irreparable loss of biological assets. Rainforests contain about 40% of the all now species of plants and animal. There is an important point here. The rainforest contain about 40% of all known as their species plant and animal. A clearness of rainforest causing the loss of the valuable natural resource including hardwood and trees and tree products such as quinones, rubbers, vegetables, and gums, etc. There is an important point here. And this loss is just not ecologically but also has a very significant environmental consequence. And the evergreen forest provide to the various environmental service by the helping to be regulate global weather patterns and the soil erosions, river floodings in the tropical etc. Evidence show that a tropical deforestation has led to be greenhouse effect and global warming by the removing an important carbon sink here. That's an important point. The next topic is the most important here. Temperate grassland biome. There is an important here. Temperate grassland biomes. There is important. The first point here. Geographical is a background. The first here, geographical background. The temperate grassland are localized in the two is a typically location interior of the continent in the northern hemisphere and the marine of the continent of in the southern hemisphere, therefore the temperate is a grassland of the southern hemisphere have a moderate climate, and then there is a counterparts of the northern hemisphere because of more marine influence as they are the closer to the coasts. The temperate grassland of the northern hemisphere is characterized by the continental is a climate there where in the extreme of the summer and the winter temperature are well marked. Through the grassland in the southern hemisphere are located along their coastal and they are located in their rain shadow area of the high coastal mountains. And this location account for the scanty rainfall in all this is a reason. These grasslands are found in all the continent under different name. In the northern hemisphere, the grasslands are far more extensive in the Eurasias and they are called to the steppes and stretch eastward from to the shore of the Black Sea of the plains of the Mancorius in China. In the Northern America, the grasslands are quite extensive and they are called prairies. And they lie between to the foot hills of the Rockies and the Great Lakes. In the southern hemisphere, these grasslands are less extensive, and these are they are known as the Palmas, as Argentinas and the Orgales and the Southern Africa, and these grasslands are sandwiched there between two dark walks and mountain, and there are Harris Desert and called Revelte. In Australia, these grasslands are known as the Downs, and there is a font to the Murray, and the Darlings is the basin of South Australia. Since all these grasslands are located in the temperate zone, and they are also known as a temperate grassland, there is an important here map. Here show the temperate grassland in the world. There is the most important Paracesis here and steppes, Manuel's grassland, Palmas, and the well and the downs. There is the most important grassland show in this is globe. The next here, natural vegetation and animal life. There is an important here, natural vegetation and animal life. As the precipitation is too low for the growth of tree but is sufficient for the growth of grass. The natural vegetation of this region is comprised to the tree-less grasslands. Tree upper only on the slope of mountain where the precipitation is more. The height of the grass varies from a place to place according to the amount of precipitation and fertility of the soil. Steppes in the particular is known as for the short and nutritious grass. The appearance of these grasses on these lands is various within the season. In the spring there is the grass beginning to be upper is a greens, fresh and blooming with the small and the colorful flower. In a summer, due to the scalding heat and the evaporation, the green grass are turned yellow and the brown. To about the is the autumns, the grass is withered, there dies, but the root is remain alive and lies dormant throughout their called winter season. When the spring comes, there is a whole cycle is repeated. And these grasslands are naturally habitats of a variety of animals. Notable among them are antelopes, wild asses, horse, wolves, and kangaroos, emus, and the dago or wild dog. That is an important animal found in this area. The next point here, human response. The human response is the most important here. No other biomes has ever undergoes so many changes as their temperate grassland biomes, and this has happened due to the human activity. The first year, majority of the grassland has been to the converted into the is agriculture land, which has now become a famous is a granaries of the world. The second is a crucial is a factor responsible for the alterations of this virgin grassland is a pastoralism or domesticated of animals. Today, virgin grassland are very rare is a sign. There is a most important point here. Today, virgin grassland are very rare sign, and there are large scale hunting of animal has resulting into the phenomenal decreasing of the population of some animals and disappearance or destruction of some animal. There is an important here for a example is a many species of animals such as antelopes, zebra, loel, leopards, hyenas has a disappearance from the Africa result by their mass hunting of animal by the European immigrant. And the introduction of the new animal and plant species has altogether changed there is a composition of native vegetation. For example, introduction of the sheep by the European shelter in Australia have a changed their composition of vegetation communities, which was originally is suited to be a native is a abuse of animals as a like this is a direction of few leguminous plant and Australian temperate grassland is a surprise to the several species of the native perennial grass. There is an important point here. The next topic is the most important here, the Arctic tundra biomes. There is the most important, the Arctic tundra biomes. There is an important here, first point, geographical background. First of all here, geographical background. This initially is a cold desert in which is atmospheric moisture is a scarce and the summers are so short and cool that trees are unable to survive. And these biomes are distributed along the northern edges of the northern hemisphere. It's a cover parts of Alaska and northern part of Canada. There is a coastal area of Greenland and the Arctic is the coastal region of Russia and the northern is the Siberia. There is important here is the globe. The here show the tundra here area. There is a almost upper side of the globes. There is an important and here show the black here the important part, but other part is not a tundra here show in this map. The second point is important here, natural vegetation and animal life of the tundra here. There is an important question, natural vegetation and animal life here. The plant cover to the consist of the considerable mixture of species. The many of these species are derived from the such as grasses, is mosses and leeches, and flowering to the herbs and the scotting of the low shrubs. And these plants is often is occur in the dense ground or huggings of agreement. The plant is a complete. There is an annual cycle has tills and during their very summers. When the ground is often moisture and waterlogged because of the equator surface as drainage. The important here, the natural vegetation and animal life of the tundras here, they're important. And the important also here, the animal of this is a biomes is maybe categorized as a resident as a migrant. Resident animal like a perthemagans and can adjust themselves to be a changing of climatic condition. The migrated animal in the contrast began to the migrating to be warmer place in the very beginning of winter. Examples are birds such as a waterfowl, ducks and swans and geese, etc., and which live there is a place of origin in the first half of the autumns and return in there is a flowing spring or earlier summer. Mosquitoes and flies and other insects is a proliferate of the astonishing and during the short bomb season. Lining of egg that can be survived the bitter winter. Other form of animal lives are scare a few species of the mammals and freshwater fish, but almost no reptiles are amphibians here. And besides there is the rain and deer, wolves and fox, most ox and antics here, and the she is a lemmings and the live in this region. Productivity of tundra hairs is very low. There is an important point, and here the important point also is a box. Productivity is defined as a total accumulate is the amount of energy and stored by the autographics primary producer per unit area per unit time is called productivity. You know that what is the productivity? Productivity is defined as the total accumulate amount of energy stored by the autographics primary producer and per unit area per unit time is called productivity. The reason for the low productivity are minimum sunlight and insolations and absence of scarcity of the nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus in the soil. The poorly developed soil, scarcities of moisture in the soil, permanently freezes ground and very short growing period. There is an important here. The tundra is come alive to the dwellings there is summer though is when flowering plants and support a large population of the mosquitoes and flies, which in the turn provide to the food for a large number of migrating waterfowl. There is an important point here. The next point is important here, human response. There is a human response is here, our discussion is the most important. The harsh environment support a less population. You know that the harsh environment support a less population. The tribes of the Samboids, Lepers and Finna and the Yokota, Eurasian tundra and the Eskimos and Canada and Alaska are some of the origin inhabitation of the place and the leader nomadic life for a century. And these tribes are now leading to the permanent and nomadic life. They have adopted to new technologies. For example, deadly lives has replaced the traditional and outdated is harpoons, and thus the modern ecomos epic occupied and with the modern their technologies are now is the position to damage the tundra ecosystem. There is an important point here. The same way is done by the already technologically advanced man is other biomes. The Samoan and the other tribes of their Eurasians in the tundra has also adopted new way of life. Some of them are leading a permanently shuttle life. Their rear is the reindeers and the fur animals is the foods, crops, mainly is the wheats in a Siberian tundra. The recent discoveries of the minerals such as the gold and mineral oil in Alaska is important here. Iron's Odis and Labrador is a nickel in the Siberia's have encouraged the growth of the mining settlement and development of transport facilities. But the mining activities has also led to the population and the other environmental problem to this vast ecosystem. You know that there is the most important point here. The rent of discovered there are minerals such as gold and minerals oil is Alaska. Iron are the labrador and nickel Siberias have encouraged the growth of the mining settlement and development of transport facility also. But mining activity has also led to the population and other environmental problem for this is a ecosystem. There is an important point here.